Hello, my name is Ola Mikosz, and I'm a senior quality management scientist too here at Simulations Plus. Welcome to the GPX asset export and import tutorial. I'm going to show you how to export assets from your current projects and import them into those that you create in the future. So let's get started. In GPX, a project is comprised of multiple components called assets. For example, observed data, a compound, formulation, or a physiology model are all called assets. It may happen that you would like to reuse an asset that you created in a previous project in your current one. To do that, you would need to export such assets from your previous project and import them into your new one. Let's create a project from scratch. Let's call it test one and save it to a location convenient for you. And I'm going to use one of the templates I have present. So select the template and hit Create button. This project doesn't have any compounds. However, it does have a formulation, which is a PO tablet. It has a dosing schedule. It contains one physiology for a 30-year-old male with a body weight of 85 kilograms, and it has a physiology schedule associated with that physiology. Let's add another physiology, also for a human, for a 20-year-old male. So I am going to change the age, modify the name, and appropriate settings. Let's make it 20-year-old. And adjust body weight to 70 kilograms. This way we have two physiologies. And if we check physiology schedules, we should see two physiology schedules created for each physiology. Now let's go back to the dashboard and export those physiologies along with physiology schedules. In order to do that, we click on the export button in the export import area. We give it the name, let's say, export physiology assets. We choose location for that project. And from the drop down, just below project location, we select physiology. And let's select both physiologies, as well as physiology schedules for each one. And having that list of assets, we can export them. We should see a message, asset export completed, which means that the asset export was successful. Now let's create a new project where we will import all those assets. We hit the new project. Let's name it test 2. And we could keep the same location. This time, I am not going to select any template, just make the project completely from scratch. Let's hit on create, hit yes, and then just to prove that there is nothing, no information anywhere. There's nothing in observed data, nothing in a compound, no formulation, no physiologies. Let's import the assets we exported from previous project. We hit a button called import, and let's navigate to the project containing those assets. We call it export physiology assets. Then we select both physiologies. As you can see, clicking on the row doesn't have any action, but that's because the import all toggle bar is on. Let's turn it off, because otherwise it will import, GPX would import all the assets present in the export physiology assets, but we care only about physiologies and physiology schedules. So once the toggle button is turned off, we can click on each row and select whatever we want to import. We want to import physiologies and physiology schedules. Let's click on import and see if everything went as expected. In the physiologist view, we should see 2 physiologies, which is the case. And in physiology schedules view, there should be also 2 physiology schedules. In order to run a simulation, all we need in that project, or the minimum number of assets we need in that project, is we need a compound. Let's make it some arbitrary drag 1 compound. And we need to add a formulation. I will add oral tablet, for example, and a dosing schedule that corresponds to that oral tablet. 100 milligrams oral tablet. This way, we have sufficient number of assets to create a simulation. Let's add a simulation. Simulation for oral tablet. Let's hit OK. Let's go to drug administration and select a compound, dose schedule, and a physiology schedule that we decide to have a simulation for. Let's run first a simulation with a physiology for a human 30-year-old. We can check the warnings first, and then, since there's nothing in the upper part of the window, no warnings, we can run a simulation. When the simulation ends, the analysis view pops up, and we can see the result of our simulation. We can do the same for the other physiology. To do that, we go back to the simulations view, and we choose the second physiology. We can select the default that pops up in the window, check warnings, and run the simulation. And that concludes our tutorial on asset export and import. Thank you.